We live in an age where majority of the internet has been commercialized. You try to read some news and it's like, hey, do you want to give us money? You scroll your Facebook page just to see, hey, do you want to buy this? You search something in Google and it says, did you mean buy something? Or the whole page is just ads. And if something is free, it needs an account so it can know everything about you and start placing more ads in your life. It sucks. But it wasn't always like this. When the internet first spread to public use, it was completely wild. Search engines weren't well developed yet, so you would find websites mostly from other people sharing links in chat rooms. Most of them were viruses. Yeah, okay, the internet always sucked. 4chan is one of the few websites from the old internet that not only survived the test of time, but did it without changing that much. It didn't get sucked into the trend of trying to monetize its users at every step. If you've been on the internet for more than one day, I'm sure you've heard of 4chan and know what it is. But if you don't, it's an image board divided into specific topical boards like fitness, business, politics, anime, porn. There's like 12 of those. The key feature of 4chan that makes it stand out is anonymity. By default, all posts are not signed in any way. And yes, I know it's technically possible to be anonymous anywhere. You can get a fake name for Facebook and no one is forcing you to use your real name on Twitter or Reddit or wherever. But those websites still have accounts, which means you're building a persistent identity, even if it doesn't use your real name. 4chan is different in that you can't really build an identity there. You are encouraged to maintain the spirit of the website by being anonymous. If you try to sign your post or identify yourself in any way, not only will other people dislike that, but there's nothing stopping them from pretending to be you. The good part of anonymity is that you can freely say whatever you want. And the bad part is that you can freely say whatever you want. Now let me elaborate on this. When you're anonymous, you're not judged on any prior information. Every post you make is a blank canvas and the only thing that matters is its content. No matter who you are, you can post your thoughts and start a conversation based solely on what you said. Nothing else. On other websites, people might use your identity traits like race, age or gender to discredit you. This doesn't happen on 4chan and can't happen unless you go out of your way to reveal some of your identity, which by the way is frowned upon. The other side of anonymity is that it frees you from any repercussions for your words. You're allowed to call someone a who and eats from horse. You can be as rude as you want without any consequences. Now 4chan does have rules, so you can get away with anything, but the rules have more to do with keeping the website organized, relatively civilized and out of legal trouble. So you can't post porn on the business board, for example, but there are no rules preventing you from insulting others. But overall, I find anonymity to be a positive thing. I think the good outweighs the bad and it makes the website stand out. However, because of anonymity and the relative lack of rules, 4chan has a really bad reputation, particularly for racism and lack of empathy towards other people. Even Wikipedia says so, so it's official. But at the same time, they seem to have no tolerance for anything worse than them. In preparation for this video, I tried to find some examples of bad things that 4chan has done, but it looks like there are more positive stories than negative ones, which was very surprising. And the negative things aren't even really stories, they're mostly just complaints about bad daily content. I found a lot of stories where someone on the internet was abusing an animal or children, and 4chan stepped in to find out their identity and report it to the police. And they always do it ridiculously fast as well. So despite being a bunch of racist outcasts, they seem to have no tolerance for higher evil. They're like the very definition of chaotic neutral. 4chan was also responsible for the development of early internet memes. Lolcats came from there, yeah, remember that? And so did the obsolete but still iconic Rage comics. And so did Rickrolling, Pedobear, Advice Animals, Wojak, Pepe. And no, they didn't create all of them, but they popularized them and created hundreds of variants, which led to the creation of branching memes like Spurdo or Coomer. Finally, I just find the content funny. Yeah, it's usually messed up or at someone's expense, but I'm a big fan of dark humor. Here are some of my favorite things that they've done. Sent a toad into space with balloons. Created a fake iPhone ad claiming that there's a new update that makes the phone waterproof, leading to some people breaking their phone. Hijacked a conference by posting messages on Twitter with Agile2013 hashtag, causing them to be displayed on the conference screen. Prank called a pawn shop for hours asking for Battletoads. tricked a child into breaking his dad's computer by first deleting his whole system, then ruining the hard drive with a magnet. Keep in mind though that what I've been talking about so far were just the highlights of 4chan, the stories that get out because they stand out. But the daily content you're gonna see there is not exactly like this. If you go there right now, you might see some interesting topics, but probably nothing to write home about. It's worth mentioning that most boards have their own culture and inside jokes, so everyone can have different experience with 4chan depending on their interests. To be more fair in my assessment of 4chan, I went to a few boards that I usually don't visit. Fitness.
Be about 25 and try dick pills.
Yeah, no, that's enough. It does seem mostly fitness related, I'll tell you that. I visit this one quite often, mainly for the humor. Video games. Oh, there's the mandatory jerk-off thread, of course. I don't know about this one. I didn't really find anything fun here. It's mostly weeb stuff. Paranormal. Yep, tits. Hold on, they actually have instructions on how to summon a succubus? I might have to save this for further research. Like, is this some roleplay board? Doesn't seem to be. Looks more like a conspiracy board. Isn't that what Facebook is for? Poll. Politically incorrect. Oh boy. Poll humor thread. Let's see. Humor? I get it. It ain't making me laugh, but I get it. Okay, now you're just posting your fetish. This isn't even trying to be funny. Poll is probably the most infamous board on 4chan, and it's mostly because of threads like this one. They frequently have threads dedicated to hating certain groups of people. You're going to see trans hate thread, fat people hate thread, Jewish people hate thread, black people hate thread. They're gonna be named a bit differently, you know what I mean. Business and finance.
Tell my family members I got a new girlfriend. First thing anyone says is she Asian?
Business and finance. Anyway, this one seems to be mostly for cryptocurrency discussions. I used to go here quite frequently, and it can be quite funny when there's a huge price movement in crypto, but on a regular day it's just a bunch of people telling you to buy obscure coins that you never heard of. C, or SCI, Science and Math. Okay, I never went here before, but on first impression this looks to be very interesting. Some decent things to discuss. I'll be back here. Advice. So this looks to be a board for social advice, like what to do in a conflict, or how to use dating apps better, or
how to cheat in the current year.
There are way more boards than this, of course, but none of the other ones are particularly interesting to me, so I wouldn't have much to say about them. Would I recommend 4chan? You would think so, because I just spent this whole video trying to make it sound good, but it should be clear by now that 4chan is not for everyone. You will enjoy it if you like dark, like really dark humor, and if you can take things with a grain of salt, or rather a bucket of salt. If you didn't laugh or smirk at anything you've seen here, then you probably won't like the real thing either. Anyway, that's all I have to say today. What are your experiences with 4chan? Probably different than mine. Remember to insult me in the comments and eat your veggies. Bye!